Ontario, right? It felt like it was supposed to be around 6 degrees, and a friend of mine said, well, it's not bad. We'll be up around 5 or 6 degrees today in Barrie. Yeah, then you factor in those winds. It felt so wintry. This afternoon, westerly flow, clear day. It's going to be partly cloudy. It'll be a nice day. See the model picking up on a little lake enhancement on some rain potentially. And then this next storm moving in on Tuesday evening could bring a messy mix. But today will be 5 or 6 degrees and it'll feel a little warmer too. Let's continue to track that snow east though, seeing some precipitation through Montreal. Dartmouth, you're still digging out. Where do we go from here? Well, it's going to be a messy mix over the next 24 hours for you as well. We'll dig into that coming back if you join us. But look at this. Yeah. Beverly Quinlan, you rock. You give us so much awesome footage. We can't thank you enough. I'm meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal. It is a Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. I know I did. Who's excited for spring? I know it's supposed to be here, but it's certainly not feeling like that, right? I went out for a run yesterday in the Hamilton region, and boy, with that wind, it was cold. All right. Let's talk about where the warm air is, where the cold air is. This is our current systems map, watching some moisture out west, watching a big warm up for our friends in the prairies in this warm sector of the storm. That'll become a player as it moves east for Ontario. And also high pressure will switch our winds enough in the east that we'll finally get into some warm air by Thursday. You have to stick around to find out how warm, because it's impressive finally. 60 to 90 millimeters of rain though on the west coast for Tofino and up through the north, and then inland a lot less, maybe about 15 to 30 millimeters of rain. Take a look at this. This is kind of a neat graphic to show Monday, Tuesday, the Pacific air surging into the rest of the prairies, into northern Ontario by Thursday. The cold air along that jet stream, you know, just north of that boundary. So it's going to be a kind of a tight pressure or temperature gradient, I should say. Everybody, though, gets in on this action. Saskatoon, Tuesday, you'll be at 17. Winnipeg, 11. Thursday, there we go. 13 degrees for you in Toronto. Fredericton, 11. We are watching a bit of snow through eastern Ontario on the radar. Montreal, you could pick up just a trace, and then up through Tremblant, we're looking at more, maybe about 5 centimeters of snow, not out of the question. So messy as that system departs. The same kind of messy weather will be brought into the East Coast. This storm here will bring in, again, messy. You know why we're saying messy so much? Because we're in that transitional time of year, right? So it's not all a bunch of Arctic air that's enveloping the east anymore. We've got different temperatures, so rain, mixed snow. So what you need to know, if you live in Guelph or even into Hamilton, that region could see some mixed precipitation tonight into tomorrow. So pre-dawn Tuesday, that's a better depiction of it. Port Stanley all the way back to the west. That's where the mixing line is. Hamilton, some snow, but it'll be that wet snow and kind of, messy. All right, so we want to leave you with this. This is just incredible. A CNN report from the 911 calls from last week in Moore, Oklahoma. Sure, your weather on a Monday is even more cool, right? It gives you a chance to get a personalized forecast, and you get to send me some pretty neat videos or photos on Twitter. So that's what I want you to do. Send it to JWhittal, Last night we aired Storm Hunters at 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. On that severe weather note, I was live tweeting, and Cody Crease actually sent me what he calls wall clouds. This was a shot from the summer over LaSalle, Ontario, where he lives. Hard to say whether these are wall clouds or if they're shelf clouds. I can't really tell because I can't see the whole cloud structure. Either way, some severe weather shots that look pretty cool. 12 degrees is your personalized forecast for LaSalle, Ontario today. Partly cloudy. And Cody, for the long range, it looks awesome too. Right through the weekend, we are into 17 degrees on Thursday, 11 for Friday, partly cloudy on Saturday and Sunday at 8 and 5. So thanks for playing Share Your Weather. Appreciate that. It's a lot of fun. Let's get into your systems map here. We see that low departing Ontario, still going to bring in some westerly winds, some strong winds. Pretty quiet on the East Coast. New developing low through the prairies, and on the West Coast, some moisture. Good Monday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal, and it is going to be mild out west. Great news. Not for everyone, though. It's going to be cold still in the east. Colder anyway, about below seasonal, around 5, 6 degrees. But then with the winds, it's going to feel a lot cooler. All right, so maybe you've heard of the story. I'm sure you had over the weekend. The plane crash in Halifax. Here's the latest. Here's a report that you can learn in case you don't know about it yet. Wow, must be terrifying. You can imagine they are pretty shook up from that. Pre-dawn tomorrow morning. By the way, we're going to keep an eye on that to let you know if that was weather related or not. I'm going to have a chance to speak to Dr. Doug Gillum about it later today. But pre-dawn tomorrow morning, we do have some weather. Shouldn't cause any travel delays or anything like that, but we do have some snow in the forecast, some mixed precipitation and some rain. And then as we get into the later part of the morning, the mix will move a little bit further north. Toronto, you're just on the edge of that, so you could see some wet flurries. That's about all, though. Peggy, thank you very much for sending that interesting photo, or video of the clouds, I should say. Really, really nice. You won't see clouds today. It's going to be very clear. 12 degrees in Saskatoon, a beautiful 13-degree mark in Regina. 14 Swift Current, only gets nicer as you push west. And then everybody gets a taste of the mild air as we continue throughout the week. So it starts in the west, Calgary 15 today. Tomorrow, Saskatoon, it's your turn. Wednesday, Thursday, as you can see, just keeps pushing east. And that makes sense because our weather typically moves from the west to the east. But watch as those temperatures flood into southern Ontario. But by the weekend, and it's Easter weekend, of course, the Easter Bunny might want to grab some mitts and a toque. Well, I guess the Easter Bunny does have fur, but it's going to be cold. Plus, we saw some snow over the weekend. Aren't we supposed to be in spring? Everybody's thinking. Halifax, 18 centimeters of snow with the winds at 101 kilometers an hour. That was one gust, by the way. But we want to take a look at that and let you know whether or not that could have affected that plane, crash landing. So we'll be right back. Everybody is okay with that plane crash. I'm sure you've been watching the news over the weekend. Just an incredible story. Could weather have been a factor? We're going to continue to dig into this story for you. There were some reports of very, very strong winds at that time, but so strong that we're even questioning whether the observation is accurate. We're going to keep a close eye on that story. Maybe Dr. Doug will join me later on today, and you might want to catch that. Right now, though, we're keeping a close eye on the radar and the satellite because that tells us where our rain is and actually probably some thunderstorms down through the Gulf states. We're also looking at some snow through the Ottawa Valley, rain through southeastern Saskatchewan and southwestern Manitoba, and we're bracing for another round of rain on the west coast. Let's go there now. 60 to 90 millimeters possible for Tofino, the island, maybe up to 60. Some areas will only get 30 inland, and then Vancouver about 15 to 30 for you. But get ready for a nice push of Pacific air right through the entire prairie region. In fact, once the winds shift around in Ontario, we also will get a nice warm up. I say we because that's where our headquarters are. Fredericton, you also will get a nice warm up, but everybody has to wait another day to get it, right? So look at that. Monday 15 in Calgary, Tuesday Saskatoon gets it, Wednesday, and the trend goes on, right? West to east movement. That's how our weather works. Is that a pool back there I see? I don't know if I just saw a pool, but not exactly pool opening weather. I have a pool too, and I'm just dying for all the snow to melt and get on with the spring season, right? So it's been a slow start to spring, no question, but then I feel bad for our friends in the east who have so much snow to melt, so I have nothing to complain about. Next low, that's going to skirt on through by Tuesday afternoon for the southern parts of Ontario. It's going to be a messy mix, so from Leamington down through Essex County, all straight rain, and then up through Elgin County and through Port Stanley, Sarnia, all mixed precip, snow in Hamilton, and then by Tuesday morning that kind of moves to the north. So here's what I mean with some of that data that we're talking about. I'm going to show you an interesting clip in just a second, but could this gust have been 101 kilometers strong in strength? Look at the gusts prior to that time frame. They were half that. So we're questioning whether or not this observation, sometimes we do just get, the wrong the weather station is automated. It can do something that's wrong. It's not always a perfect science, right? So we're kind of looking into that, but that is what happened. The winds were 35 kilometers an hour, sustained gusts potentially when the plane crashed at 12:45. It could have been weather related, but all right, you're looking at a live shot of Winnipeg. Good morning to you. When will the rain move in? We'll be back with that information.